down there, but we're going to get our share, unfortunately, as well. Now, one thing I didn't talk about at the beginning is about the rain. You know, you're getting a hurricane. Obviously, rain is one of the factors, along with the storm surge, the coastal concerns, and, of course, the high winds. Well, in this case, there is a flood watch in effect from Worcester West. We certainly don't want to make light of that. Right now, you can see that a lot of the rains are targeting the mid-Atlantic, and that's where the very heaviest rainfall amounts are going to be. We will get some bands of rain, but remember, when a storm tracks like this, we wind up on the windier side. The wetter side is over here. So that doesn't mean we don't get any rain. And when we do get rain, we can get heavy downpours. But the total amounts of rain not likely to be as high here as it will be well to the west. But you could see there will be rain around and a few heavier downpours coming through. And then we may break out of it for a while and get some more showers overnight, tomorrow night, and on Tuesday. But in terms of total rainfall, latest computer projections that I'm looking at suggest about 1 to 3 inches of rain. That is not a small amount. It's quite significant. But I think we'll be able to handle that. Unless, of course, it comes down very hard in a very short period of time, then you could have some localized flash flooding. That's a possibility. But let's again remind you of the coastal flood warning, because if you live along the shoreline, that's the biggest factor, along with the wind. But, of course, the wind and the wave action is what's driving the threat of the coastal flooding. So that has to be followed. And, of course, wind. For all of us, we're going to share in a lot of wind. Now, 35 to 45 miles an hour from mid-morning on tomorrow into tomorrow evening, almost a 12-hour period where there can be some gusts up to hurricane force. The strongest likelihood is along the south coast of the Cape. Second strongest likelihood is along the east coast of Massachusetts. The third most likely area would be the elevated areas inland. But even non-elevated areas inland are probably going to have gusts of 50 or 60 miles per hour, and that is certainly enough to do some damage. Now, the trees are only partially foliated. The less foliation, the better. When they're more foliated, it's easier to come down. Also, when it's been very wet, it's easier to come down. So let's hope we don't get too much rain out of this. Look at the eye. It's actually better defined now than it was earlier. So it's clearly a hurricane at this point, and this shows the likelihood of tropical storm force winds. Anytime you're in a color of yellow or greater, it's just about a guarantee, and we are certainly there. But look at this situation around New York and Long Island. That's why there is such concern about that area, because they're going to have the strongest storm surge, the heaviest combination of wind, storm surge, tide, and the whole deal, and rain. So they've got everything to be concerned with over there. But let's get back to our situation. Let's talk a little bit about the wave heights and the winds. And look at this. As we head to the south of New England, things are starting to build. We're getting 15, 16-foot waves, and the winds are gusting to tropical storm force. And that's going to be lifting northward. So as we work our way to and through tomorrow morning, we'll be in the heart of the storm. You see it's windy already with gusts of 35 at Chatham and 30 in Boston. And that's just the beginning. I got to show you this one more time. You see that gust to hurricane force in Chatham, and you see the gust to 60 to 70 along I-95. So a lot of wind. It is going to be a wild day out there tomorrow, and then the wind begins to abate after midnight tomorrow night, relatively speaking. It's still windy on Tuesday, but it's not damaging winds at that particular time. All right, here's our temperature structure now. Upper 40s to mid-50s around the region. And for tonight, it's increasing wind. It will be wet or damp at times, 50 to 55, up to 45-mile-an-hour winds, south coast and Cape by morning. And then tomorrow, an extremely stormy day. It won't be raining all the time, but even when it's not, the wind is just going to be so powerful. There's your next 5 days. Tomorrow's the real stormy one, no question about that. Tuesday, we have leftover showers, breezy to windy conditions. Then on Wednesday, sun and clouds, maybe a shower or two, not as windy. It does get better on Thursday and the latter part of the week. But we'll continue to follow this with you. Of course, I'm going to see you again in just a few minutes. Heather Nett.
Mike Lynch coming your way in just a couple of minutes. The Patriots having a jolly good time across the pond. Lynchy on the blitz that they put on the Rams in London.